Hi, and welcome to Ida and her books. I'm Ida, and these are my books. Today I will be doing a haul for all the books I have acquired for the past 2 months, I think. And yeah, I'm just gonna get started. First of all, I went to the bookstore, Akademibokhandeln, and I bought some books there. They always have a deal going on where if you buy 4 pockets, you get the cheapest one for free. Pockets and paperbacks, that is. So I got Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This is some type of sci-fi story. I have not yet read this one. I had this one on my TBR for the Booktubeathon, but I did not get to it, so I still want to read it. I'm still very excited to read it. Djävulens märke by Magnus Nordin. This book I have read previously, and I bought it because I liked it very much and I wanted to read it again. It is about a school where a teacher seems to possibly be colluding with the devil. Avgrundens änglar, also by Magnus Nordin, about a group of people who start taking vengeance on people who have hurt them in the past, where the law did not step up. I have also read this one before. Prinsessan och mördaren, also Magnus Nordin. I have also read this one before. It is a thriller. It's been a while since I read this one. Hemsökta by Magnus Nordin. And this one I do not think I have read. I think it's one of his most recent ones. Yeah, this one came out in 2017 I think, so it's very recent, so I want to read that one. City of Brass, and I read this one during my Booktubeathon. It's a fantasy book taking place in... well, it starts in Cairo, and I'm not entirely sure where they travel, but it's about a girl who finds out that she might just not be completely human and travels with a jinn called Dara to a city where they think she will be safe from people who are trying to kill her. It's a very good book. I recommend it. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I've just started listening to the audiobook. I decided to buy it because I already had a second book in the series, so I'm gonna read that one. And it is some kind of fantasy political story, and so far I like how it's written, but I've only read like a chapter or 2. The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This one I also listened to the audiobook during the Booktubeathon. Very good book. I like the language, I like the characters, I like the story, and I am excited to buy and read the rest of them. At my job at an antique shop, we decided that we had a little too many books because they don't really sell that well when there's so many, overwhelmingly many books. So I had the job to sort and organize and throw out a lot of books. And so books we decided that we didn't think we could sell, I could have my pick of. So I have picked up a few books that I decided that I wanted to take home. First 2 are not like actual books. It's like a minneskalender, where it's like a regular calendar, except they don't write day or year anywhere. It just says month and date, so you can use it any year you want. And I started using this one as a logbook for my reading progress, how many pages I read every day. And I then also picked up a second one of the same type of book, so I can start when I have used up all the pages in this one. After that I got some books about women throughout history, because I find it interesting to reading about famous women. And so I got The History of All Swedish Queens by Herman Lindqvist. Historien om alla Sveriges drottningar. Kvinnor är något speciellt, bara bättre med åren. Women are something special, only gets better with age, I think. It's a tiny book. Stina Dabrowski meets 7 women. Also about different powerful or famous women. I also got Across the Nightingale Floor in Swedish in hardback, because I had a third one in hardback, and I so much prefer to have them that way. The first 2 I have in paperback, I think, or pocket even. But now I have the first and the third in hardback. Then I got an ethnology book, People and Things. Människor och föremål. Ethnologists about material culture. And because I have taken 2 courses of ethnology at university, I found this to be quite interesting actually. Heaven Has Claws. In Swedish it's called Djungel och djuphav by Adrian Conan Doyle. And this book I saw last year when working at the same antique shop, and I was very intrigued by the fact that his name is Conan Doyle, his last name. And so I looked it up. It turns out it's Arthur Conan Doyle's son, and I do like my Sherlock Holmes, so I thought I'd pick up this book just as yeah, it was just fun to have. Next few books I got from a friend of mine who didn't want to have them anymore, asked if I wanted to have them instead. And those books are The Elder Gods and the Treasured One by David and Lee Eddings. First 2 parts in a series. Then I also got Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows in English by J.K. Rowling. I have all the books in Swedish, but now I've started a collection of the English books as well. Next book I've already shown you in my booktubeathon because I bought it last Monday, and that is Hero at the Fall by Alvin Hamilton. Very excited to have this book, very excited to read it. I have lent out the 2 first books to another friend, so I'm gonna get those back and I'm gonna read all 3 back to back, and I'm so excited. My last piles of books is from my mother. She got in touch last week and said she was getting rid of basically all fiction, all her fiction from the bookshelves at home, and asked if I wanted to pick some up. And so I went there yesterday after getting back from the summer house and went nuts. So I'm gonna show you what I got. Worth Dying For by Lee Child, a Jack Reacher novel. I have read one other Jack Reacher novel, which is also in this pile, and I really liked it, so I thought I'd take the other one we had at home as well, just to see if I like it as much as the other one. The Pale Horse by Agatha Christie in Swedish. I think I started reading this one when I was younger. I didn't understand anything, but I do like Agatha Christie, so I'm gonna give it another chance. In one of my previous videos I ranted a bit about having the first 2 Percy Jackson novels in Swedish and not really knowing if I was gonna switch language or continue reading them in Swedish or however I was gonna do. But now when I was home I found this one, Percy Jackson the Titan's Curse, as well as The Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian in English, that my brother has read and he didn't want them anymore. So now I at least have the entire series, just in 2 different languages, but it's better than nothing. So I'm gonna get through that series at some point. Next book does not have its cover, but it's also by Agatha Christie. Murder is Easy. It's just like you have the name. Elsewhere by Gabrielle Seven. Never heard of it before. Looked intriguing. I think it's for a younger audience than me, but I still found it to be intriguing, so I'm gonna read that. By Denise Rudberg, Ett litet snedsprång. Some kind of crime mystery drama. I have read previous YA books by her. Not any of her adult novels, but they're apparently supposed to be really good. Skuggan över stenbänken by Maria Gripe. I know this one has been translated, probably to English, but I have not found the English title. Also for a younger audience, but I can't recall if I read this one when I was younger, or if I just wanted to read it, or started reading it, but I want to read it. The Code Book by Simon Singh. About code cracking and writing in code and such, and the history of codes. I found this to be very intriguing as well. August Strindberg, 3 of his plays, I assume. Yeah, Röda rummet, Hemsöborna, Ur svenska öden och äventyr. It might also be just books, novels, but he's a playwright as well, so it might be plays. He's not like one of my favorite playwriters, but I have seen and I have read the script for a few of his other stories, and I do like to read someplace from time to time, because I am a theater geek. The Chamber of Secrets, The Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, and The Half-Blood Prince, all in English. And so now I have 5 out of 7 of the English books. Throne of Jade, which is the second book in a series. I never heard of it before, and I think I'm gonna find the first book maybe on audiobook or in the library, so I can read that one and see if this is anything worth reading. Next book is by Agatha Christie. I'm not gonna tell what it says on it, but the new title I think is And Then There Were None. This is an old copy. I think I'm gonna repurchase it, but I got this one for free from my mom, so I thought maybe I could read it and then repurchase it if I like it. Torka aldrig tårar utan handskar by Jonas Gardell, about the HIV outbreak in the 80s. It is the first in a series of 3 books. Labyrinth by, I think it says, Kate Moss. It's some kind of history or maybe fantasy, I'm not sure. I have not read the synopsis, I just thought it looked intriguing. Pardonable Lies by Jacqueline Winspear. I have seen this author on BookTube a few times, and so I thought I'd pick her books up when I found them. Some kind of mystery, crime story. Birds of a Feather by Jacqueline Winspear. Also some kind of mystery crime. Next book, Storytime. A couple of years ago, many years ago, I was already quite obsessed with Sherlock Holmes, and I spoke to my sister one day. I was in town and she said they have a Sherlock Holmes collected series book. You should go buy it because they have a sale going on, book sale. So I go there and it's sold out. Turns out one of my friends bought the last copy. But I did, however, buy another Sherlock book. And then a couple years go by, I didn't read it. I did go look for it, however, in the bookshelves. Didn't find it. Then I moved out. Took all my books with me. Could still not find it. I looked through the books several times and I have not found it until yesterday. Selected Stories of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. And so now I have it. It's been mine all along. I just haven't found it. So now it will go on my Sherlock shelf. Flood Child by Emily Diamond. Some kind of fantasy dystopian maybe, for younger audiences, for children. Under Floden by Staffan Nordstrand. Some kind of history novel. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. Also in Swedish, like most of the other books. I'm gonna have to get a separate shelf for her as well. Evil Under the Sun by Agatha Christie. I read this one at least once. I've seen the film, TV series version of it. I really like it and I remember who the perpetrator is. I even have this one on a Nintendo Wii game, though I never finished playing it because I got stuck. Mord I Dalarna by Stig O. Blomberg. I think it's like a small town crime kind of story. Waves Upon the Shore by Elaine Crowley. History story. Sounds intriguing. This is a German book, so I don't know the English title. In Swedish it's called Snövit ska dö by Nele Neuhaus. Some kind of crime, sounds intriguing. Book of the Dead by Patricia Cornwell. Crime, mystery sort of story. Next book, another Nancy Drew novel that I apparently did not take with me last time. It is called The Teen Model Mystery. So yeah, it goes on my kitty shelf. Next is another Jack Reacher story by Lee Child, and it is called One Shot. Looks like that. This one I have read before. I don't remember exactly, but I think Mom bought it, I don't know where, but we were traveling and then we read it and then we watched the movie. And yeah, I liked it. I'm gonna read it again. Next book is a non-fiction about a phenomenon or something in psychology called flow, which we have touched upon in my studies, and so I found this to be interesting to have and to read and find out more about it. Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. Looks like that. It's about a girl who gets sold by her father to a house of geishas or something like that. Mörkersikt, Annorlunda sagor om kaos by Johannes Källström. It's a Swedish anthology, I think, with stories, novellas, scary stories, so horror stories. And I like some horror in books. Like a lot of the Magnus Nordin books are some kind of horror, rarely supernatural horror, but still. I sort of like this when it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I've also been quite disappointed by some horror books I've read. So I hope this one's good. It's also a Swedish author, as far as I know, and they have done better for me than the American ones or international ones, so I'm intrigued by this one. The next two Percy Jackson books that I already talked about. I have all three in different renditions, so none of them look the same. I think this one might look like one I already had, like book 2 that I have in Swedish, but otherwise all of them look different from each other, so if I really like the series I might have to repurchase them, so I have a matching set. Avenger, it's called, by Andy McNabb and Robert Rigby, also in Swedish. I also think I might have read this one before. I don't remember. And I also think it might be mine. But it doesn't say it doesn't have a name in it, so I don't remember, but I want to reread that one as well. By Charlaine Harris, Dead Until Dark, a True Blood book. I suspect it's the first one, and I hope I like it, because vampires in books. I have actually found a series now that I like. I have it in an audiobook. I can't recall the name of either the book or the author. I will put them on screen. But it's a series of several books that I do like that are about vampires. Otherwise it's like Twilight, didn't like that one. So I hope this one's good. Stravaganza, City of Flowers, which is a standalone third book in the Stravaganza series by Mary Hoffman, also in Swedish, and because they're standalone I think I might just read this one if it's really good. I could look for the other two, but it's some kind of fantasy story. And the last book is Let the Right One In by John Ajvide Lindqvist. This book I have read before. It is good, it is scary, it is... gives me chills. I think I listened to audiobook last time because I really hated horror when I was in high school. Now I'm like cautiously into it. It's still scary as... So I picked this one up from my parents because I thought I might want to read it again. That is all the books I've acquired, bought or been given this past 2 months. I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Comment down below which books you think I should start with, which ones are your favorites. Follow me on Instagram and so on and so forth. And I will see you next week. Bye.